Let's talk about your smartphone. That sleek, rectangular device that's become an extension of your very being. It's the device you can't live without. The first thing you reach for in the morning, and the last thing you see before you go to sleep. It connects you to the world, entertains you, and keeps you informed. It feels like magic, doesn't it? The way it instantly answers your questions, navigates you through unfamiliar cities, and lets you video chat with someone on the other side of the planet. But it's really science powered by rare earth elements. A complex interplay of physics, chemistry, and engineering, all made possible by a group of obscure metals. These 17 metals, often overlooked and rarely discussed, including neodymium, crucial for those tiny but powerful magnets that make your phone vibrate and your speakers sing dysprosium, which helps those magnets withstand high temperatures, ensuring your phone doesn't melt down when you're playing that graphically intense game. Yttrium and more are the unsung heroes of the digital age. They are the secret ingredients in everything from your phone's vibrant, crystal-clear screen, making colors pop and images sharp, to your earbuds, delivering crisp audio and noise cancellation, wind turbines, enabling the efficient generation of renewable energy, and even missile guidance systems, ensuring precision and accuracy. Without them, your phone is just a shiny brick, a useless piece of glass and metal, incapable of performing any of the functions you rely on daily. Here's the twist. The surprising truth behind these essential elements. These elements aren't actually rare in terms of their abundance in the Earth's crust, but they're a nightmare to mine and process. Separating them from the surrounding rock and from each other is a complex, expensive, and environmentally challenging process. For decades, the world let one country handle the dirty work, bearing the environmental cost and shouldering the responsibility of extraction and refinement, while everyone else enjoyed cheap gadgets, benefiting from the low prices made possible by this concentrated production. But now, the global supply chain is a mess, strained by geopolitical tensions and unexpected disruptions, and the stakes are sky high. The control of these resources is no longer just an economic issue, it's a matter of national security. This isn't just about who makes the best iPhone, or who can offer the latest features at the most competitive price. It's about who controls the future of technology, who will lead the next wave of innovation and shape the digital landscape. It's about economics, influencing trade balances and global competitiveness, and even military power, determining who has the edge in advanced weaponry and defense systems. The fight for these elements is a silent war, a strategic competition playing out on a global scale. It's waged with mining permits and export quotas, not soldiers. But the consequences are just as significant, and suddenly, everyone's realizing that letting one moody chef control the recipe, having a single dominant player in the rare earth market, for modern life might not have been the best idea. It's a precarious situation that demands a re-evaluation of our strategies. Imagine if the only person who knew how to make bread, the sole provider of this essential staple, decided they didn't like you anymore, cutting off your access to this fundamental food source. Suddenly, everyone's starving for toast, facing a crisis of basic sustenance. That's the rare earth story in a nutshell. A story of hidden dependencies, strategic vulnerabilities, and global power dynamics. And it's about to get a lot more interesting. The next chapter is filled with innovation, competition, and a race to secure the resources that will power the future. Journey with us to Greenland, a vast, icy island, a land of stark beauty and hidden potential. Imagine a place where glaciers meet the sea, and the northern lights dance across the sky. This remote territory is home to more polar bears than people, a testament to its untouched wilderness. These majestic creatures roam freely, a symbol of the Arctic's raw power. But beneath the frozen surface lies something extraordinary, a geological jackpot hidden beneath its ice. For centuries, Greenland's true value remained locked away, a secret whispered only by the wind. Greenland sits on one of the world's largest untapped reserves of rare earth elements, the crucial ingredients in modern technology. These elements are essential for everything from smartphones to electric cars. This treasure trove is enough to transform its tiny economy, offering the promise of prosperity and maybe even fund independence from Denmark, its long-time governing power. The potential is immense, a chance to reshape Greenland's destiny. Suddenly, diplomats and mining execs from around the world are flocking to Nuuk, Greenland's capital, eager to stake their claim. The race is on to unlock Greenland's mineral wealth. This influx of international interest is turning Greenland into a geopolitical hotspot, a focal point of global competition. The world is watching as Greenland navigates this new era. The most coveted site? Kvanefjeld. In the south, a place that holds the key to unlocking Greenland's potential. Kvanefjeld contains enough rare earths to supply the world for decades, a game-changer in the global supply chain. This single location could redefine the future of technology, but there's a catch, a significant challenge that complicates the equation. The rare earth minerals are mixed with uranium, the stuff of nuclear reactors and bombs. This radioactive element presents a serious environmental and political dilemma. This inconvenient fact sparks a fierce debate in Greenland, dividing communities and testing the limits of its political system. It's a battle between prosperity versus environmental risk, a question of whether the potential rewards outweigh the potential dangers. The world's tech future is suddenly tangled up with local politics and radioactive rocks, a collision of global demand and local concerns. Greenland's leaders must weigh immense wealth, the promise of economic independence, against environmental fears, the potential for radioactive contamination, and complex global power plays. The stakes are incredibly high. The outcome will ripple far beyond the Arctic, impacting global technology, environmental policy, and international relations. The world is waiting to see what Greenland decides. To understand the scramble for Greenland, you need to know about China, the reigning champ of rare earths. While others shut down mines, China ramped up, tolerating pollution to build a near monopoly. Today, China mines 60% of rare earths but processes nearly 90%, meaning even Western mined minerals often end up in Chinese refineries. This gives China massive leverage. In 2010, they cut off exports to Japan, sending shockwaves through global markets. Suddenly, the world realized it had handed a strategic rival the keys to its tech future. Governments scrambled to find alternatives, but building new mines and refineries is slow, expensive, and complicated. Greenland's mineral wealth became a rare chance to break China's grip. The race was on, with the world's most advanced industries hanging in the balance. Whoever controls these metals controls the future, and everyone wants a piece. The U.S. used to be a rare earth powerhouse, a dominant force in the global supply of these critical minerals. From the early 20th century, America led the way in rare earth production, fueling its own industrial revolution and technological advancements. But over the decades, it gradually let the industry slip away to China, enticed by the promise of short-term savings and lower production costs. This strategic miscalculation would have far-reaching consequences. When China began to flex its muscles on the international stage, asserting its dominance in various sectors, including rare earth minerals, Washington panicked, suddenly realizing that its advanced military technology, its defense systems, and its national security were all critically dependent on a supply chain controlled by a potential rival. The implications were deeply concerning. The U.S. scrambled to rebuild its domestic mining capabilities, pouring investment into reopening old mines and exploring new sources of rare earth minerals within its borders, and, recognizing the urgency of the situation, eyed Greenland as a potential solution to diversify its supply and reduce its reliance on China. The Trump administration's audacious offer to buy Greenland outright was widely mocked and ridiculed in the media, seen as a bizarre and outlandish proposition. But beneath the surface of the media frenzy, the underlying strategy was very real: to secure a friendly Western source of rare earths, ensuring a stable and reliable supply for its critical industries and defense needs. The Kvanefjeld project, a massive rare earth deposit in Greenland, was being developed by an Australian company, Greenland Minerals, with a significant Chinese stakeholder holding a substantial share in the company, adding another layer of complexity to the situation. This project quickly became the focus of an intense U.S.-China tug-of-war, a battle for influence and control over a vital resource. To counter China's growing influence, America strategically opened a consulate in Nuuk, the capital of Greenland, and offered substantial economic aid packages, hoping to sway Greenland's political future and secure access to its valuable mineral resources. For a brief moment, it looked as though Washington's charm offensive and strategic investments might actually pay off, giving them the upper hand in this geopolitical chess game. But Greenlandic domestic politics, with its own unique set of challenges and priorities, and a quiet yet significant move by Canada, would soon dramatically upend everything, throwing the entire situation into disarray and changing the dynamics of the game. The U.S. quickly learned that it wasn't the only major player vying for influence in Greenland's rare earth sector. And the next unexpected twist in this high-stakes geopolitical drama was coming from its neighbor to the north, Canada. Enter Canada, America's friendly neighbor, quietly building its own rare earth strategy. Canada has its own deposits, a skilled mining sector, and a plan to become the reliable, responsible alternative to China. Canada and the U.S. even signed a joint plan to build a North American supply chain. While the U.S. focused on Kvanefjeld, Canadian companies explored Greenland too. Neo Performance Materials, a Canadian firm, backed a different Greenlandic project, smaller but crucially, uranium-free. This made it far less controversial and politically risky. While the world watched the Kvanefjeld drama, Canada quietly positioned itself for success. Beneath the surface, U.S. and Canadian companies were racing for the same prize. Canada's patient, low-profile approach was about to pay off. Sometimes slow and steady really does win the race. The U.S. wanted control, Canada wanted partnership. Greenland was about to choose. The Kvanefjeld mine became Greenland's national obsession, and a source of deep division. The ruling party saw it as the ticket to independence, despite the uranium risk. The developer spent years and millions preparing, but uranium was inextricably linked to the rare earths. Greenland had a long-standing ban on uranium mining, but the government pushed to overturn it for economic gain. The debate split the country: jobs and prosperity versus environmental fears and cultural heritage. The 2021 election became a referendum on the mine. The opposition party, Inuit Ataqatigiit, promised to block Kvanefjeld and keep the uranium ban. The world watched as fewer than 30,000 voters held the fate of a global supply chain in their hands. The future of tech was being decided in Arctic villages, not Silicon Valley, and the result would shock the world. The election was a landslide. Greenland's new government banned uranium mining, killing the Kvanefjeld project overnight. Years of investment and international maneuvering evaporated in a single vote. The message was clear. Local voices matter as much as global ambitions. For the U.S. and its allies, it was a major setback. The biggest alternative to China was off the table. But Greenland wasn't closing the door on all mining, just uranium. Canada's uranium-free project suddenly became the most attractive option. The patient, less controversial approach had won. Sometimes the quietest player gets the last laugh. Greenland's decision reshuffled the global rare earth game. China lost an investment but kept its monopoly for now. The U.S. had to rethink its strategy, turning to domestic mining, recycling, and, crucially, Canada. Canada's projects in Greenland and at home became vital to Western tech and security. Suddenly, Canada had real leverage, not just a junior partner, but a linchpin in the Western supply chain. The episode proved that resource competition is about more than rocks. It's about politics, environment, and local will. A tiny Arctic electorate changed the plans of superpowers. Greenland showed that small players can set the rules. The race for rare earths is now more unpredictable than ever, and the world is watching. Why does this matter to you? Because your phone, your car, your green energy future, all depend on these fragile supply chains. If one country controls the market, they control the price of everything you use. Disruptions mean higher costs for tech, cars, and even medicine. The fight for rare earths is about building a stable, responsible supply, so your gadgets stay affordable and the planet isn't trashed in the process. Supporting projects in places like Canada is a vote for cleaner, more ethical tech. This isn't just about rocks, it's about power, values, and the world you want to live in. Next time you pick up your phone, remember, there's a global drama packed inside, and it's not over yet.